All right, guys. So question number 27. All right. So question number 27, utilize your calculators a lot. All right. Because you're doing two-way tables. Okay. So the question says a survey asks a random sample of students if they estimated they spent more or less than an hour on a day on social media. All right. So we were given this two-way table. Okay. So first things first, guys, I need to know what the totals are for this two-way table. So I need to know the total here, and I need to know the total here. Okay. So the total would be this 20 plus 2. So total amount of persons in the seventh grade would be 42 students in the entire seventh grade. How many people would be in the entire eighth grade? There would be about 35 students in the entire eighth grade. All right. How many students use the social media more? 20 and 23 will give me a total of 43 social people in school. All right, both 7th and 8th graders use social media more. And how many people use social media less? About 34. All right. So the total amount of people in my entire survey, I can get by adding these numbers right here together. So 42 plus 35 would give me 77. All right. And that should be the same thing as when I add these together. Okay. So 43 plus 34 is also 77. Those should be the same things. Okay. So the question says, what percent of eighth graders estimated they spent more than an hour a day on social media? So we're looking at percentage of eighth graders. So I'm focusing on this region right here. All right. So of those amount of eighth graders, all right, that did more or less, all right, I'm focusing on the ones that did more than an hour. So persons that did more than an hour was this 23. So of my entire amount of eighth graders, I need to be looking at that 23 and how many were in my entire eighth grade? 35. So I'm going to do 23 divided by 35, then multiply that by 100. Okay, so let's drop that in our calculator, guys. Okay, so my calculator, I'll type that exact same thing in. Fraction 23 over 35 multiplied by 100. All right, and I get 65.71, but it says round to the nearest tenth. So I look at the second number after the decimal point. Because it's not 5 or larger, my answer would be 65.7. All right, and that is it. Okay, so let's keep on trying, guys, because there's a lot of variations for this problem. Okay. So for this one, guys, it says a survey asked a group of adults and youths if they preferred reading books printed on paper or electronic books. Okay. So first things first, guys, I need to try to evaluate the totals. Okay. So the total here and the total here. Okay. What's the total amount of people that printed that liked it printed? Well, 23 plus 39 would give me 62. What's the total amount of youths? So I will do 23 plus 23, which would be 46. What's the total amount of adults? So total amount of adults will be 39 plus 36, all right, which would be 75. And what's the total amount of people that like electronics? Well, 23 plus 36 will give me 59. And what's the total amount of people in my survey? 62 plus 59 will give me I think 121. All right. And that should be the same thing as when I add 46 and 75. 46 plus 75, I believe likewise is indeed 121. All right. So the question reads, guys. So let's read what the question wants us to do. So the question says, what percentage of youths? So I'm focusing on what? Youths. So this is the area I'm focused on. All right. What percentage of youths prefer reading electronic books? So youths that like electronics, we have 23 youths out of our 46 that like electronics. All right. And I need to multiply that by 100. And why am I multiplying it by 100? So that I can convert it to a percentage. All right. You don't have to multiply by 100. You could just move the decimal point 2 times to the right, but I feel like doing this will be a little easier for a lot of you guys. All right. So times 100. All right. And I would get 50. Okay. So about 50% of the persons who are youths like electronics. Okay. So let's keep on practicing, guys. All right. Because the more you practice on this question specifically, is the better you will get at it. Okay. Because this one involves a lot of calculator. All right. So again, practice as much as you can. So it says a random sample of students were surveyed as to how much non-school screen time they had each week. For purposes of the survey, screen time was defined as time spent online, on social media, watching TV, or playing video games. And if their grade average was above or below 80. All right. So for this, they already gave us a total, so that saved us some time. So all we need to do is identify what the question is asking us to do. So it says, what percentage of the students, all right, who spent 8 to 12 hours a week on screen time reported a grade average of 80? So I'm focused on the area that says 8 to 12 hours per week. So I'm focused on this area, all right? And I'm trying to look at the area that says above 80. So I'm looking for above. So 16 people who did 8 to 12 hours were above 80, all right? So I have that 16 over the total amount of people that did 8 to 12 hours, which is 30, then multiply that by 100, all right? So when I do that, guys, this is what I would get. So I click my calculator and I would have 16 over 30 multiplied by 100. And then I would get 53.333. But it says round to the nearest tenth. So I look at the second three after the point. But because it's not 5 or larger, this stays as 53.3. All right. So again, guys, just like that. If you realize I did up to 9 of them, because even I would have benefited from the practice. So you know you definitely will benefit from the practice. Do as much as you can. All right. So a survey asks a group of adults and youths if they prefer reading books, printed or electronic books. All right. So this was the information we were given, but we need to find our totals. You can't do this without finding your totals. All right. You have to do this first aspect first, no matter what. All right. So the total amount of people who are youths, all right, seems to be about 72. Total adults seems to be about 65. Total printed is 76. Total electronics is 61. Right? So total people in my entire survey is either this added or this added. Either one should give you the answer, which should be 137. All right. So, yep, 137. Okay. So let's read the question. So it says, what percent of youths surveyed? So we're focusing on youths, all right, who would prefer reading electronic books. So youths with electronic. So I need to do 35 over the total amount of youths times 100. All right. So when I plug that in my calculator, I'll get my answer. All right. So 35 over 72 multiplied by 100. And I get 48.61, says round to the nearest tenth. So I look at the 1, but it's not 5 or larger, so it would be 48.6. Okay, so again, guys, just like that. And again, do as many as you can, because the practice, you will indeed benefit from it, guys. I'm telling you. All right. So for the next one, let's first define our totals. All right. So let's first define our totals. All right. So total electronics is 66. Total printed is 63. Total youths is 71. Total adults is 58. All right. So total amount of people in my entire survey would be 9 and then plus 7, 12. So 129. All right. You should get that if you added any of these. Okay. So it says we're looking at the percentage of youths who prefer reading, so we're focused on youths, all right, and prefer reading printed, okay? So we're looking at that 40 out of 71 times 100, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in my calculator. All right, so 40 over 71 multiplied by 100. So I get 56.33. Because the second 3 is not 5 or larger, it would just be 56.3. All right. So again, guys, the more you practice, the better you'll get at this. And I'm telling you, you want to get better at this. So let's do this final question right here. All right. So first, let's find our totals. Okay. Because again, we're looking at this random survey asked to the list of their grade level and whether or not they have a pet or not. Okay. So the total of 6th graders that we have. So list the totals. Totals. All right. So total amount of 6th graders would have been 33. Total amount of 7th graders would have been 37. Total amount of 8th graders would have been 49. All right. Total amount of people that like pets would have been so 47 plus 19, 63, I believe. You can use your calculator to check that out. 14 plus that is 27 plus that would have been 53. All right. I'm actually going to use a calculator to check that, guys, because I may be a little off. Okay. So 19 plus 24 plus 23 is actually, so that actually should be 66. So 19 plus 24 plus 23, that should be actually 66. Okay. And then 14 plus 13 plus 26 is indeed 53. So I would have made a mistake on the first one when I added them. Okay. So now I'm going to combine all these. So you can add these or add these three. All right. You should get the exact same thing. So 66 plus 53 is so 118. Okay. And it should be the same thing as when I add 33 plus 37 plus 49 is indeed, oh, so not 118, 119. All right, I almost made a mistake again. All right, so again, guys, that's 119 because 66 plus 53 is 119, not 118. Okay? So again, guys, those are all of my totals. Again, those are all of my totals. So let's read the question. So it says what percentage of 7th graders have a pet? So I'm focusing on 7th graders, all right, who have pet. So 24 out of my 37 7th graders multiplied by 100 will give me my percentage, all right, of persons that are in the 7th grade that have pets. All right. So when I plug that in my calculator, I get 64.86, but it says round to the nearest whole number. So I look at the first number after the decimal point. Because it is 5 or larger, the 64 would go to a 65. All right. So again, guys, just like that. The more practice you get on this question, the better you'll get at it.